Welcome to Your Time to Thrive with personal fitness coach Jason Stevenson.
Hey everybody, welcome to Your Time to Thrive with health and wellness coach Jason Stevenson.
This guy. What's up?
How are you, man?
I'm doing well, man. Can't complain. Not going to anyway.
Okay,
But doing well.
I could find things to complain about.
We can always bitch, right? You want to bitch a little bit? We can bitch.
Kind of.
Do you feel like you need to bitch about something?
No. I thought at like 3 a.m. this morning, I guess. I was gonna say last night, but it's definitely this morning still.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, tomorrow for the show, we should just go live and just stare ahead at the camera and like just a blank stare. I was like, I'm done. I don't want to just go live and then just a solid stare of like what the hell is happening for like 3 minutes straight without breaking, and then
cut to commercial.
So that was my plan for the show today.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like it's actually, we've talked about this kind of stuff in the past, right? It's not about what happens, it's how you respond, right?
Yeah.
Do we throw up our hands? Do we drink a bottle of Jameson to our head? Do you stay in bed all day? Like whatever happens in your world, because I mean, we don't even have to go political on this. We can go with reality. Whatever happens in your world, you have a choice about it. You can get out of bed or you can stay in bed. I prefer to stay in bed sometimes. I prefer to get out of bed sometimes. I think that our goal is to overall not get caught in the tailspin of emotional reactions to things, because the truth is those realities are never constants. I mean, everything's subject to change, right?
Yeah.
And it's how you handle it. How do you drive your boat? Like, are you the guy that's like hunkering down in the corner, like screaming and crying that the waves keep crashing over the bow? Or are you going to grab a hold of that steering wheel or the rudder and then drive the boat? Are you going to take control of your life? Damn right, Meg. Meg says, keep fighting. So yeah, right? I mean, we're going to have pitfalls in life. We're going to have things that frustrate us and things that don't turn out the way we want them to. I always laugh actually, because my fiance and I are a little different in our hosting desires. I like to have groups of people around, and she's much happier with a smaller group of people. So whenever we throw a party, I'm not stressed. Like if we throw a barbecue for my birthday every summer, and I'm excited, I look forward to it, and I'm prepping food and planning for people to show up. And she's worried about stuff. She says, well, what if these people don't show up? Or what if we have extra food? I say, you know what? It's going to be what it's going to be. If more people show up than we expected, then we'll order pizza. If less people show up than we expected, then we're eating roast pork for a couple of days. The reality of life is going to continue. How you respond, how you choose to deal with it is the only thing you have control over.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Ben is a man of many words today.
It's a long night, man. Becky says, like my tattoo says, but the fighter still remains.
Yes. Because you get knocked down 7 times, you get up every time, right? You get up 8 times, you get up 9 times. I mean, I don't understand the math behind that one, because if you got knocked down 7 times, you get up 7 times. But yeah, you keep fighting, right? Well, they always use that as an analogy. Like if you get knocked down this many times, you're supposed to get up more times than you get knocked down, but it's kind of hard to get up.
You're supposed to give 110%.
Which is impossible.
Yep.
This is all lies.
8 days a week. I blame the Beatles. Okay. Moving on. What are we talking about?
This is what we're talking about today. Topic today is, what are you juggling? Precipitated and given credit to my brother on this. He and I were having a great conversation this weekend about, life as it affects us on a regular basis. And he told me about this story that he'd heard one time about being aware of the balls that you're juggling. And we use balls because they're a little bit more applicable to this, but we talk about spinning plates, or I've got a lot on my plate, whatever the analogy is. The question is, what are you paying attention to most? Because most people are not juggling all identical balls. Most people are not juggling things that are all equally important, equally stressful, and require the same amount of attention and effort. So the analogy is, what balls are fragile and what balls bounce a little bit, right? So that was the conversation we had. And I stopped like for a good couple of seconds when I was talking to him. I'm like, wow, I'm using that. I love that. So I've been thinking about that for a couple of days now. And it makes a lot of sense, because whatever we're talking about with your health and your fitness, there are certain pieces to that that are definitely priorities. And whatever we're talking about with your life, it sounds like there's a lot going on. I got a lot with work, and I got a lot with my friends, I got a lot with things that I'm building for my business. They talk about that as far as like how you should spread your energy. And when I say they, it's those business leaders and motivational speakers. And they say that there's pieces to your business that you should focus on the most. And that's obviously based in priorities, right? Like, what are your priorities? Your priority is always your present, right? With business, it's what am I doing right now? Like you and me right now, this is my priority. I'm still working on lesson programs that I'm writing for online systems. I still have clients that I have today. I'm still touching base with people to get them into the system, and I'm touching base with people to keep them on their programs. So within my world, there's pieces of levels, I guess, that are attention givers or takers from me. And I should spend the amount of energy that each one of those needs, but they don't all need the same amount of energy. And sometimes we get caught in understanding the priorities. Does that make sense? I like this kind of thought process because it carries over with what we were talking about last week. And it's because we're supposed to be connecting the dots. There's multiple pieces that we're trying to do here. You're trying to eat smart. We're trying to exercise more or regularly. We're trying to maintain our stress levels, but we also have other things in our lives. We've got work and family and internal struggles and extrinsic struggles. There are things in our life that are going to take a lot of energy from us as well. So what do we spend energy on, and how do you divide that energy is the question, I guess. That's the debate and topic for today. So what do you think, Ben? What are you spending energy on? What is a fragile ball for you, and what is a bouncy ball for you?
Oh God. Spending energy on work, mostly.
Right.
Yep. Not spending a ton of time on family, and spending virtually no time on friends. And spending not nearly enough time on myself. Like virtually no time on myself.
Which is probably pretty common, right? Would you think
Yeah.
that's pretty normal for people out there in our listening world?
I would assume so, yeah.
So of that grouping, what are the fragile ones? What are the more bouncy ones?
Well, so fragile is the ones that are more important, right?
Yes.
Like you have to not. So I would say
Can't drop those.
Right.
Can't drop those.
So myself, that should be a priority. I don't know. They all seem kind of fragile to me. Everything, all of the four that I just said seem kind of fragile. Like, you want to make sure that, especially when just in general, anything, like you want to make sure that you're spending enough time on work because you want to be able to live and afford things and all of that stuff. And then, spending time with family as much as you can, even during the situation like right now. That's also important. I would say that friends are, and when I say family, it's a broader term of not just like my immediate family, but like my family that lives in this house.
Yeah, I know.
And
we all have family that's more than blood.
yeah, and so I like the one that bounces is friends mostly.
So do you think it's ironic that, and speaking generally, and this is usually what happens, that the one that you said first, the one that is the most fragile, is probably the one that we spend the least amount of energy focused on, the least energy and attention?
Ask the question again.
So I don't want you to feel like I'm walking you purposely through here, but you literally said that of that grouping, yourself is a pretty important one, if not the most important one, right?
Should be.
Right. But don't we tend to put less energy and attention into ourselves than the other ones?
100%.
Right.
100%. Because so if you're spinning plates, right? This is kind of what I thought about this. You don't think of yourself as a plate. You think about spinning all of the other plates, right? You think about the other balls that you're juggling,
right?
But you don't really consider yourself a ball or a plate. Like you're fixated on the things in your hands, the things that you think are gonna fall.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Of course.
Sweet.
So if that's the case, what happens if you trip?
Everything falls.
Yeah. So what happens if you're not watching your footing? What happens if you're not doing your self-care?
Everything falls apart. You drop the balls. You drop all of the balls. You don't just drop one. You don't just have to worry about the thing that, you don't have to worry about which ones are fragile and which ones are bouncy, because you will have no more balls in your hand if you don't pay attention to what you're doing.
Yes. That's why I love this. That's exactly where I've been going with this for a couple of days now, because that's what happens, right? We spend so much energy worrying about other people. We spend so much of our energy, and let's be frank, it's honest. We need to pay our bills. We have to subsist. There's a way that we have to provide for our families and our future, and that's working, right? We trade time for money. That's right, Beck. You can't be there for yourself or others. And that's because we tend to deprioritize ourselves. We tend to forget that we are the most important part of that show. It does not matter if a guy comes out on stage, or girl, and starts juggling 1,000 plates, if they're a hot mess on stage and can't stand on their 2 feet, and they fall all over the place, because all of those apparatus and all those tools that they're tossing in the air are going to fall all over the place. And if we're going to carry this any further, then what really happens in our life? If we're not doing self-care, if you're not healthy, if you're not strong, if you're not balanced, if you're not getting your rest, which is my second message for today, is your balance. If you're not getting all of that, then how good are you to other people? How much help can you provide? How much can you earn? We've talked about this COVID thing for a while now, and I'm still going to push it. Take care of yourself. Get your ass outside. Take your vitamins. Drink your fruit juice and eat your fresh fruits and vegetables, and vitamin C, vitamin D. You need to be boosting your immune system, folks, because no matter what happens, no matter who coughs on you or who you sit next to in a restaurant, if your immune system sucks because you've not been taking care of yourself and you're sacrificing your own self-care, this could be the common cold and it'll knock you down. We've all been sick and gotten knocked down by a common cold, by the flu, or some kind of thing that just knocked you on your ass. I guarantee you, every single person here listening has spent at least one day in bed where they'd have no idea where that came from. It just knocked them down. They felt like crap for 24 hours, and then it went away because something knocked you on your ass. It's your immune system that will stand up to whatever you encounter in this world. It is your body's natural defenses that will be able to fight whatever comes along. In the same way, your capacity for patience, your ability to manage stress, your strengthening of your heart and your lungs by doing cardiovascular exercise, you eating smart on a regular basis, and having the fuel in your body to actually function. All of those pieces are super mandatory, priority, very, very fragile little glass balls that we're tossing up and down in the air and forgetting about all the time. Because without those pieces, you're pointless. Like your other stuff is going to falter. You know, the focus on your friends or the focus on your family or the focus on your work. We all know what it feels like to feel like crap and have to go to work. How productive were you when you felt like you'd rather be in bed all day because of how badly you felt? You know?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So why do you think we do that, Ben? Why is it so easy to let go of what we need, what we know we need, like what is self-care for ourselves so that we can actually help other people? This is in the Bible. It's a parable that Jesus told. Like it literally, like this is a lesson that's been going on for a long time. People much smarter than me have been paying attention to this stuff. Why do we do that? Why are we so self-loathing essentially in deprioritizing our own self-care?
I don't know. I wish I had a better answer.
I only ask honesty.
Yeah, I wish I had a better answer. I think it's many things. I think that there's a level like we're taught not to be selfish, right? Even though many of us are, in many ways selfish, but if you're selfish in that direction, right? Of like taking time for yourself, you know what I mean? Like then it just feels like it's harder to be a like to not come off like a pompous ass to other people. I guess I was gonna say, I was gonna say something different, but basically, yeah, like we don't want to. So we might be selfish in that in certain ways of like, we want something for ourselves more than other people, or jealous or whatever, But I think when it comes down to it, like we're great on the like. I'm gonna take this last thing that I want. Like we're fine with that. We're cool with that in private. But if you're like, hey, I can't come over tonight. I gotta work out. Or like, telling your kid, like, mom needs 10 minutes this morning. Go away. Like. I don't even know if you feel like a bad person, but you feel like you're perceived as like in a negative way. Like Megan just said, I think we are conditioned to not prioritize ourselves by the people around us, the things we experience, read, and see. Yeah, exactly. Like you're almost like a bad mom if you send your kid into the other room. You know what I mean? Like you're if you don't like help out a friend or whatever. Like these are yeah, I can or at work, somebody asks you to do something, you can't really say like no. I mean, how hard, like sometimes it's the most difficult thing to say, yeah, no, I'm not coming in on Saturday because that was my day off, and I know that something came up, but I'm going to be cranky. I'm going to be like, and there's no reason that you have to take it. Like, you don't have to take it, but you do.
No. Yeah.
But you do. And you stay
Why
extra
though?
and you give extra and you do all of that stuff. I think it's because of the perception. I think that we don't want to, I think that we are okay with being selfish when we don't think anybody else sees.
Yeah.
And I think that we sacrifice our self-care in other aspects because we don't want to appear selfish, or we don't want to appear weak, or we don't want to, you know what I mean? Self-absorbed.
Yeah.
Like people don't generally like if you talk too much about your morning routine and how you meditate twice a day and like that you go on like a 3-mile run every morning, like people are gonna hate you. Like a little bit. Like they really
Haters are
are.
gonna hate. And
But
where's
you know
that
what I'm
real?
saying, right?
Yeah, no,
Like,
I get it. But hang on. What is that what we're worried about?
I agree with this. Megan said, "Don't just send your kid in the other room. Explain why." No, yes, absolutely, absolutely. But what I'm saying is that's a great interpersonal relationship situation. That's
Yes.
definitely the way to do that with your child. It's like it's the thing of like other people, like other like friends will think like, why am I doing? You know what I mean? Like even
Yeah.
when they don't. Yes, they don't hate
Yes.
you. They see what they see in themselves.
That was it.
Absolutely. But that doesn't mean that we
Don't worry about it.
we don't. Yeah. I mean, how hard is it to go? How hard is it to really go? Like when somebody like rolls their eyes at you, it's really difficult to go like, that's them. That's them. That's not me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're like, it's a lot of self-love. It takes a lot of self-love to have the self-love to do the things that make you have self-love.
Yes. But so then doesn't that create the potential for you to be better as a friend, to be better as a person, to be better as a role model, to be better as a partner, as a husband, a wife, a parent?
Sure. It does. It creates oh, sure. We internalize it. Ego. Thank you, Megan. You're a wonderful third co-host. So that's the thing. It does make sense. All of it makes sense. Why don't we do it? Because it's easier to sit in our own
self-loathing.
Yeah.
Because if it's like, say that Saturday example, you go into work, your boss asks you to do some extra hours, and you're like, yeah, no, I really shouldn't, but I'll say yes anyway because I just a pushover, or because I feel like I want the promotion, or for whatever reason. And then you go in and you're bitter. You're not productive. You're not giving 100%. You're certainly not giving 110. So when we do those things begrudgingly or disdainfully or unwillingly, like we're just, okay, fine, I'll come help you move. You're not helping anybody really, because then the relationship is changing. You're changing that situation. You're emotionally experiencing it in a very different way than you need to. But ultimately, your self-loathing, self-sacrificing isn't successful. Because I agree with you that we have been taught to be not selfish, to not say, no, I want to go watch the football game. I'm not going to help you do the laundry, whatever the circumstances are. That we've been taught that that's a bad thing, or it's poor, or it's misjudged. You should have chosen better. You should go help your mother, that kind of stuff. But the truth is, that's just a justification for people not taking care of their own shit. Because here's the thing. For me, the analogy comes back easily for the restaurant business, because that's a lot of my professional experience when I was younger was, when you're on the line or you're in a restaurant experience or whatever work experience you have, if you're coordinating your job performance with other individuals, you have to trust that those other people are doing what they need to in order to get that performance successful. To get that food out, you have to trust that the garde manger guy's got the sauce that you need, and he's going to be ready when you're going to dress that plate, and we're going to put it up on the line for the server to take it out and accurately describe it and not drop it in the lap of the customer who ordered it. Right? So there's all this trust that goes on. But when we have these interpersonal relationships, we kind of let go of that, because if you're not taking care of yourself, you're not helping anybody else. And you're eventually going to burn out when I need you, or you're going to be frustrated because every time I asked you to help me, you begrudgingly helped. And then the next time I ask you to help me, you're not going to be there when I really need you.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the piece that's missing, is the awareness of what is a real priority and being able to say no. You know what? Look, I will help you next time. I promise. I just not today. It's like that. It's like that choice that you make with yourself. Like, where's your alarm set for? Say no. I'm not going to sleep in. I'm not going to hit the snooze button. Today, I'm going to change my choices. Because that's where it starts. You got to say no to that child. You got to say no to those things that aren't driving you to a better place, that aren't helping you. And understand that sometimes you're going to spend some energy doing some things you really don't want to, but there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Do it purposefully.
Yep.
That's the balance piece, because the one that I have to encourage people to do, which is ironic to me, is to get the balance. As a trainer, I'm trying to get people to slow down sometimes. Take a day off. Take a day where you just go for a nice long walk in the woods. Take a day where you sit and read a book for half an hour. Like, get that downside. We need to de-stress. Need to let go. And just go eventually stops. And what usually stops is what we get sacrificed on, which was that fragile one that we talked about from the beginning, which is usually you or me or us, we. Because we're not doing the self-care. We end up hitting the wall. And then stuff gets sacrificed. Friendships get sacrificed. Work gets sacrificed. Our health gets sacrificed. For what end? Right?
Yep.
Get a bigger Hummer. Get more clothes. Right?
Oh, man. This was a good episode today.
Yeah? What'd you learn? What are you going to apply? What did you learn? What are you going to apply? What are you going to take today? What's your takeaway?
All right. Well, I didn't know there'd be a test, you jerk.
There's no wrong answers, buddy. This is just honest shit. Honest shit.
No, I think here's the thing. I don't think I learned anything new.
Good.
I don't think I learned anything new. I think that it's about the consciousness. It's about bringing consciousness to it, right? Because, like Megan said, we all internalize it. It's the, it's the whole thing that we started with at the beginning, right? So, like, you're looking at all of these balls that you have in the air that you're juggling, and you're like, some are fragile and some are bouncy and whatever, but you're looking at these external things and you're not thinking about the fact that, like, if I friggin' trip, I'm dropping everything. And so I think that the consciousness of that, instead of thinking of yourself as one of the balls that you're trying to juggle, like, you are the juggler, and you need to make sure that you keep those plates spinning, whatever it is. Like, you're going to crash and burn if you're not paying attention to what you're doing first. And so I think that's great. And the understanding of, the conversation that we got into of why we don't practice self-care, because we have an external feeling of selfishness. We have an external feeling of judgment, right? For doing those things for ourselves, of guilt, and it's easy. It's easy to say, like, oh, I can't I can't take 15 minutes for myself to meditate because I have a 5-year-old to take care of, you know, or I can't go on that hike on Saturday because they asked me to work and I have to say yes. Like, and all of these different situations have levels of what you need to do and what you could say no to. But it's easier to say I'm too busy. It's easier to say I have to do something for someone else than it is to put any effort into yourself. And it's easier to blame the things of, you know, people would judge me or like that's the wrong thing to do. You know what I mean? It's all easier. It's all easier to not do those things and to focus on the things that you're juggling. That's easier.
Yes.
Yeah.
Say it with me. Thanks, Meg. Say, I am worthy. I am worthy. The new mantra for the day, sir.
I'm worthy.
Yeah, it is easier. I can see that professionally and personally speaking. I agree with that. It's easier. It's easier for me to make somebody else work out than it is for me. And I live in a gym, so I get that completely.
Yeah.
But the choices are the long-term trajectories of those choices, and what the outcome of that's going to be, and the self-sacrifice that involves, and then how that impacts us, and then how you feel about it, right? And then. And we're not creating the life we deserve. You deserve to feel amazing. You deserve to be in charge of your life. You deserve to thrive and not just make it through, not just roll over and have to get up and I got to get through work and finally I'll get to Friday. Live your life. Be deliberate.
Absolutely.
Take a power nap. Take a walk outside.
Absolutely.
Get up and meditate for those 2 minutes. Because you can that's how you fix it. You know, I don't have time for this, but I have time for this. Yep. I'm not going to work every Saturday, but I can do that for you today. You know, I'm not going to help you every time, but I can do that right now. You know, make compromises where you prioritize yourself just a little bit more. And your future self will thank you for it. I promise you.
Where can people find you, Jay?
ThriveTrainingTeam.com. Come check it out. If you have any questions related to your health and fitness, I'm here for you. I'll answer any other questions you have too, usually sarcastically, but I'm happy to help. Remember, folks, you deserve to take care of yourself just a little bit. Your future self will thank you for it. You have a great day today, folks. Thank you, Ben. I appreciate it, man. Love you, buddy.
Thank you. Love you too, man.
Okay, everybody have a great day.
For more information, tips, and workouts of the day, check out thrivetrainingteam.com.